In the quaint town of Elderglen, nestled between lush green hills and roaring rivers, lay an enigmatic woodland known only as Whispering Thicket. The townsfolk told tales of the forest that seemed to swallow people whole, leaving nothing more than footprints quickly covered by the encroaching foliage. It wasn't merely the dense foliage that cast a veil of mystery upon the forest, but the tales of those who wandered in, never to return. Among the residents of Elderglen was a curious and adventurous young woman named Alara. Driven by insatiable curiosity and a heart that sought the thrill of unraveling the unknown, she found the stories of the Whispering Thicket both alluring and daunting. Each story had a commonality. Everyone who disappeared into the forest had ventured in alone, believing themselves immune to its seduction. The allure became irresistible when Alara heard that her childhood friend, Tobias, had gone missing in the thicket just days ago. Determined to find him and uncover the truth behind the disappearances, Alara packed a small bag of essentials and made her way to the forest's edge, the whispers of ancient treetops beckoning her forward. As she stepped into the forest, an unsettling silence embraced her, a quiet so absolute that it swallowed her footsteps. The air was thick with an earthy scent, and in the distance, the wind seemed to carry the soft murmur of her name. Alara. It was both a comfort and a warning, as though the forest itself was keenly aware of her presence. Hours passed, the sunlight dappling the forest floor in fleeting patterns as Alara ventured deeper. She discovered peculiar symbols carved into the bark of ancient trees and small offerings left by others who had ventured here, remnants of prayers or bargains they perhaps hoped would spare them. Despite the eeriness, Alara felt an inexplicable connection to this place, as if she was meant to be here. Just as twilight began to descend, the forest's grip tightened. The trees seemed to close in, the width between trunks narrowing, forcing Alara onto an overgrown path. She felt as though she wasn't alone. Shadows danced at the corners of her vision, yet vanished upon her gaze. In a small, moss-covered clearing, Alara found Tobias. He was seated on a rock, his demeanor serene, almost trance-like, as if in communion with the forest itself. As her eyes adjusted, she realized they were not alone. Surrounding them were others, those thought to be lost forever, living symbiotically with the Whispering Thicket. The realization settled upon Alara. The forest did not swallow people. Instead, it chose those to keep, to protect its mysteries, to live within its embrace. Understanding coursed through her veins. The Whispering Thicket had claimed another guardian, and her heart settled into its rhythm, the final tether to her old life fading as a hushed breeze whispered, "Welcome, Alara." In the quaint village of Eldergrove, nestled between hills and forests, something unusual was afoot. The village, usually steeped in routines and charm, awoke to whispers of strange discoveries beyond its borders. A seemingly ordinary Tuesday was disrupted when young Tommy Whitaker sprinted into the town square. His eyes wide with wonder and fear, he gathered the villagers, claiming he had seen something peculiar near the old ruins at the forest's edge. According to Tommy, while exploring the ruins, he stumbled upon ancient markings etched into the stones, a language foreign and indecipherable, shimmering in the sunlight. An aura about the place made the hairs on his neck stand on end. The villagers, intrigued yet skeptical, decided to investigate the mystery themselves. Among them was Professor Lillian Hartwood, a retired archaeologist with curiosity and a calm, analytical mind. With her leadership, a group trekked to the ruins. As they reached the ruins, the villagers hesitated, awed by the strange beauty of the stones. Lillian studied the markings closely, realizing they resembled an ancient script she had once studied, linked to an extinct civilization. The adventure continued as the group stumbled upon a hidden chamber in the ruins. Inside were artifacts, ornate tools, mysterious devices, and scrolls with delicate calligraphy. Among them was a peculiar amethyst pendant in a silver medallion. Elder Grove buzzed with excitement as stories of the chamber's treasures spread. The narrative of a boy's wild tale transformed into a profound discovery, hinting at ancient mysteries and making the village a focus of intrigue for adventurers and scholars. What secrets the ruins contained were yet to be fully understood, but one thing was clear: the small village of Elder Grove would never be the same again. Lucy had always been perceptive about her surroundings, noticing things that others often overlooked. One rainy afternoon, as she sat by her favorite window nook, sipping a cup of chamomile tea, something unusual caught her eye. Amidst the rhythmic dance of raindrops against the window pane, a small object flickered on the tree outside, a brightly colored piece of paper, somehow impervious to the downpour. It was tucked neatly between two branches, as if placed there intentionally. Curiosity getting the better of her, Lucy grabbed her raincoat and ventured outside, letting the cool rain splash against her face, invigorating her senses. The paper was surprisingly dry and firm in her hand when she plucked it from the tree. As she unfolded it, she realized it was not just any paper, but an envelope addressed to the one who sees. Inside, there was a short note, written in a hurried yet elegant script. When the sky cries, an ancient truth seeks to emerge. The first sign is yours to bear. Ready yourself for a journey unseen. Lucy's heart raced as she read the mysterious message. She studied her surroundings, expecting some sign or indicator of what she was to do next. The rain began to let up, and a glimmer of sunshine peeked through the dense clouds, casting a warm glow over everything. Lucy stood beneath the tree, the note clutched in her hand, realizing that this was no random occurrence. The rains had a curious way of marking new beginnings, and she felt an inexplicable pull towards uncovering the truth hinted at by the cryptic message. She knew she couldn't keep this to herself, and decided she needed to share it with someone who might understand. As she stood pondering, a wave of resolve washed over her. Whatever this journey was, whatever was meant for the one who sees, she would embrace it. Little did she know that this was just the beginning of an adventure that would challenge everything she thought she knew about herself and her world. In the heart of a verdant, seemingly endless forest known by the locals as the Vale, two explorers found themselves trekking deeper than any others dared. Their names were Amelia, a seasoned botanist with a deep curiosity for rare flora, and Tom, a wildlife photographer known for his fearless pursuit of the perfect shot. The air was thick with a rich sense of moss and loam, a sensory delight to Amelia, who could identify each fragrance with precise enthusiasm. As they edged deeper into the forest's embrace, the path became less distinct, almost as if the forest itself was reluctant to let them pass. Amelia, driven by the hope of finding a rumored flower known as the midnight bloom, pressed on. This flower was said to hold secrets unknown and possibly miraculous healing properties. Tom, with his camera at the ready, kept a vigilant watch on Amelia, more protective than ever amid the whispers of the ancient trees. Their journey took a somber turn as storm clouds began to crawl in, casting ominous shadows upon the leafy canopy. The forest, once a symphony of gentle chirps and rustling leaves, fell silent, a silence so profound it felt alive. Ignoring the growing tension, Amelia's eyes caught a glimpse of vibrant color through the thick underbrush, a possible lead on the midnight bloom. As she approached, the ground beneath seemed to tremor slightly, a subtle warning felt rather than heard. Unperturbed, she reached forward only for Tom to suddenly pull her back. A loud crack of thunder punctuated the air as the ground before them gave way to a hidden chasm, an event as though the forest itself had reacted to their intrusion. Eyes wide with a mix of awe and terror, Amelia and Tom realized the forest wasn't just a collection of trees and plants. It was a living, breathing entity capable of warnings and wrath. Collecting themselves, they decided perhaps this search for the midnight bloom could wait. As they slowly retreated, the forest seemed to ease, the sounds of life cautiously resuming around them, leaving them with a humbling reminder of nature's powerful guardianship. In a dimly lit chamber filled with intricate stone carvings, for companions stood. The air was thick with mystery as they gazed into the entrance of the maze of shadows. This was the infamous labyrinth that had confounded adventurers for centuries. Legend spoke of an ancient artifact hidden deep within its walls, an artifact that could control the very essence of night. Yet, it was also said to be guarded by a malevolent spirit known as the Shade. The leader of the group, Lyriel, a sharp-eyed rogue with a knack for solving puzzles, took a step forward. Her confidence was palpable, and it motivated her companions. Kale, a hulking warrior, Sylvie, a skilled enchantress, and Finn, a quick-witted bard. They each carried a piece of a map that supposedly led to the artifact. As they delved deeper into the labyrinth, the paths twisted and turned, shrouded in darkness. Sylvie used her powers to create flickering orbs of light, guiding them through the maze. The walls seemed to close in, emanating a chilling presence that sent shivers down their spines. It wasn't long before they encountered their first challenge, an immense corridor that shifted and rearranged itself, leaving no clear path forward. Finn's clever mind went to work. He played a haunting melody on his lute, the notes echoing through the stone. The music revealed the hidden passageways as the notes peeled away the shadows momentarily. They followed Finn's lead, discovering a hidden door that only appeared when illuminated by his harmonic spell. Beyond the door, riddles etched into the walls dared them to proceed. Lyriel deciphered them swiftly with her keen intellect, while Kale stayed alert for any signs of danger. The temperature dropped as they advanced, the oppressive atmosphere growing thicker with each step. Whispers began to surround them, ghostly murmurs from the shade seeking to lead them astray. Then, a shadow loomed, engulfing the narrow corridor before them. It was the Shade, its form shifting like tendrils of smoke. Sylvie stood firm, casting an illusion that mirrored the beast, buying Lyriel time. The rogue navigated through the reflected maze of their surroundings, identifying the hidden route that would take them past the Shade's domain. Finally, they reached the heart of the labyrinth, where the artifact lay. By pooling their unique skills, the group not only won their prize, but also found a newfound respect for each other. As they emerged from the maze of shadows, the artifact in hand, its power shimmered under the light, their journey in the maze a tale of bravery and friendship unlike any other. In the quiet depths of the Aleph woods, just as the sun began to dip beyond the horizon, a hush fell over the clearing. The air was thick with tension and the promise of a confrontation that had been building for ages. The protagonist, Serena, a young and determined wanderer with an unyielding spirit, stood at the heart of this natural arena. She had spent her whole life preparing for this moment, driven by her family's legacy and the prophecy that declared her as the guardian of balance. Opposite her stood the antagonist, Malachi, an enigmatic sorcerer whose soul had long been corrupted by a thirst for power. Clad in dark robes that seemed to swallow the light, he smirked slightly, confident in his abilities to bend the forest, and Serena, to his will. He had spent decades plotting and harnessing the dark forces to overthrow the natural order and reign as the unchallenged lord of all creation. Around them, the trees seemed to hold their breath, and even the birds were silent, aware of the pivotal battle about to unfold. Serena tightened her grip on her staff, a relic passed down through generations, imbued with the wisdom and power of her ancestors. With one foot firmly forward, she conjured a protective shield that shimmered like the surface of a tranquil lake. Malachi watched with a mocking smile before making his move. His hands twisted and flicked, whispering spells that crackled through the air like charged lightning. He aimed to disrupt Serena's shield, probing its weaknesses with sharp tendrils of dark magic. Yet, as they collided with the barrier, Serena's ancestors whispered guidance through the forest veil, strengthening her resolve. In a battle where thought and energy moved faster than the eye could see, Serena found the rhythm of the clash. Every attack from Malachi was met not just with resistance, but with understanding of his motivations, his fears, his vulnerabilities. In the midst of the confrontation, Serena realized her true power was not just in her lineage or relic, but in her empathy and belief in redemption. Channeling this newfound insight, she sought not to destroy, but to heal. Her staff illuminated the clearing, filling it with a light that stirred the very essence of the forest. Malachi, caught off guard, stumbled back, his dark facade cracking under the brilliance of Serena's compassion. "It doesn't have to end this way," Serena called out, her voice carrying the weight of truth and hope. Malachi hesitated, his form flickering between shadows and substance, as the forest around them gradually began to breathe again. In that moment, the possibility for another path, one of unity rather than destruction, began to unfurl.